Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. P, and look at all this mess. I'm going to read you this book called The Boy Who Wouldn't Speak, and it's written by Steve Berry, and the art is by Deirdre Betteridge. And we're going to open it up, and I started it a minute ago, but then the little video thing wasn't going right. So here's our title page, The Boy Who Wouldn't Speak. So let's see. You look at this, I'll read the other part. Owen was a boy who never spoke. Never. Not a word. His dad would say, "Hi there, Owen. How are you today?" But Owen would just nod and smile. And his mom would say, "Who's my beautiful boy?" And Owen would wave and smile happily. And when his brother, Dylan, asked, "Owen, would you like to climb the apple tree in the backyard?" Owen would just laugh and smile, but he wouldn't talk. One word. Not a word. His dad said to his mom, "I think there's something wrong with that boy. He doesn't talk. He won't even say his own name." Owen's mom said, "No way. There's nothing wrong with him. He'll talk as soon as he's ready." "But he's 3 years old," his dad said. "Shouldn't he be ready now?" "Owen, say something to Daddy, please." But Owen just sat there and clapped his hands and rolled around on the floor, laughing to himself. Threes don't always start talking yet. By Owen's 5th birthday, his father was really worried. "That boy still won't say anything, not even his own name. We must take him to the doctor," he said. "Nope," his mom said. "He'll talk when he's ready. Won't you, Owen?" He's blowing out his candles. Huh. But it was time for Owen. Wait a minute. Did I miss a page? No. But it was time for Owen's checkup, so off to the doctor they went. And the doctor said, "Hi, Owen. How are you today?" And Owen gave her a big thumbs up sign. "Still not saying anything, huh? Let's have a look." She looked down Owen's throat and said, "Say ah." But Owen didn't. And then she said, "Cough." Owen did. She gave him the rest of his checkup and then tickled him. And Owen laughed. The doctor smiled at Owen's mom and she said, "There's nothing wrong with him that I can see. He'll talk when he's ready." And Owen smiled and nodded. The next day, let's see. Wonder what that's all about. The next day, Owen and Dylan were playing with their trucks when they heard a huge noise. They looked up and saw a super large moving van. 2 super large giants were moving into the house at the end of the block. Okay, this guy must be the super large giant. He's just a big guy. The man giant was dressed in the biggest pair of overall jeans Owen had ever seen. The lady giant wore, okay, that's who that lady was, the lady giant wore a red tracksuit that was enormous, and her sandals made a big smack every time she took a step. Dylan said, "Let's get out of here," and he ran home to tell his mom what was going on. But Owen stood there smiling at the giants for a minute, and they smiled back. And then, with a wave goodbye, they went into their house. When Owen got home, Dylan was telling his mom about the giants. "That's nice, dear," she said, still trying to figure out some numbers at her desk. "Owen," Dylan whined, "you tell her." But I'm going to let you look at this picture. But Owen was already on his way back to visit the giants. He knocked on the door, and the man giant opened it and said, "Hi there, what's your name?" Owen just smiled. "Cat got your tongue, eh? Well, come on in and play a while. My name's Fred, and this is my wife, Lola." Lola? The giants, they're not giants. They're just giants to him. The giants taught Owen a card game called Giant's Bluff. They told him stories about the land of giants. Everyone there is big like us, but we thought we'd come here and see if we liked it, said Fred. If everyone is as friendly as you, said Lola, I'm sure we will. They didn't seem to care that Owen didn't talk. Owen visited Fred and Lola every day. The giants were always glad to see him. They gave him milk and cookies and told him more stories about their old home. Sometimes they would make popcorn and play games or watch television. And once in a while, Lola would make some of her special baked ice cream that was hot on the outside and cold on the inside. Oh, look at this. He's sitting at their table on a giant stack of pillows. And they're playing cards. That's pretty cute. Best of all, the giants loved to dance. They would put on some music and do a slow waltz together. And it looked so pretty, and sometimes they would pick him up and he would dance with them. It was better than a ride in Dad's car. They were Owen's best friends. But after a while, Owen noticed that Fred and Lola were getting a little sad, and they didn't waltz anymore. We can't understand why no one has come to say hello to us, said Lola softly. Maybe they don't like giants, said Fred sadly. Oh, that's so sad. And that's what was happening. People on Owen's block were afraid of them because they were so big and they read all the stories about the terrible things that giants do. We can't have giants living on the block, said one lady. You know what that means. Pretty soon there will be nothing but giants living here and there will be no room for the rest of us. And then one man who lived just 2 houses away from Owen said he wouldn't let his kids go anywhere near the giant's house because he had heard that they eat little children. But Owen knew the man didn't even have kids. And he knew that Fred and Lola ate cookies and popcorn and baked ice cream, not kids. The next time Owen went to visit the giants, he discovered that the people on the street had sent a letter to the giants telling them they had to move away. Fred and Lola got mad. They can't tell us what to do, said Fred. You tell 'em, Fred, exclaimed Lola as she huffed and puffed and swelled up. Oh, look at that. Huffing and puffing and swelling. And there's their letter. Whoops. One day, as Owen was walking home, let's see, oh no, that does not look good. One day, as Owen was walking home, he saw some of the neighbors marching towards Fred and Lola's house. They looked madder than mad, and they were shouting about how they didn't want any giants living on their block. Go home, giants, they yelled. Go home, giants. And Fred and Lola came out and stood on their front porch. And Owen stood right in the middle of them all. And the yelling got louder and louder, and things had become very, very scary. Suddenly, somebody yelled, "Quiet!" And everyone stopped shouting. And they looked at each other, and then they looked at Owen. "Quiet!" shouted Owen again. Everyone was shocked. Owen, the boy who wouldn't speak, was talking. Listen, he said. These guys, the giants, are my friends. Their names are Fred and Lola, and they love to dance the waltz. And Lola knows how to bake ice cream. And they tell me stories about their old home, and they help me with my homework. They're only mad because nobody came to say hello, and then everybody tried to throw them off our block without even knowing anything about them. They're just like everyone else. They're just bigger." And all the neighbors stayed silent for a minute, just staring at Owen. Then they looked way up at Fred and Lola, who were looking at him, too, with nice, caring smiles on their faces. Nobody was really sure what to do. Then the lady who had written the letter spoke. "They like to dance?" she asked nervously. "Why, I love to dance. Maybe they can teach me to waltz and I'll teach them how to do the two-step." "Well, yeah, and maybe I'll teach them how to cook roast beef and Lola can teach me how to bake ice cream," said the man who thought giants only ate children. Everyone was talking at once. The neighbors were smiling, Fred and Lola were smiling. Everyone was having a great time, and Lola brought out some cookies, and the whole neighborhood had a party right there on the street. And Owen's dad put his hand on Owen's shoulder. "That was a wonderful thing you did, son. I am very proud of you." "Thanks, Dad," said Owen, smiling. "There's just one thing I want to know," says his dad. "How come you waited until now to say something?" "Well," said Owen, "because I didn't have anything important to say before now." Owen was laughing as he ran back to get another of Lola's cookies. And that's the end of The Boy Who Wouldn't Speak. Okay, boys and girls. Back later.